Well, there are already a record number of women running in 2020, with Senators Warren, Klobuchar, and Harris in the ring, as well as Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard and long-shot New Age author Marianne Williamson. Well, why not? Kirsten Gillibrand is waiting in the wing. So should Hillary Clinton instead wait for 2024? The panel is here to discuss. Tonight we've got National Taxpayers Union Senior Fellow and Center for Free Economy Board member Mattie Duppler is here, along with comedian and head writer on this fine show, subjective term, Jimmy Fallon, and Republican pollster and president, as Maslansky and Partners, Lee Carter is back. Welcome back, everyone.
Hey.
Great to be here.
You gotta make sure you're on camera so they can see the air quotes when you call it a fine show.
Lee, so she said so many things in this interview with Tina Brown. She tried to say, well, I'm not running for president, but she already said in October, I don't want to run for president. I want to be president. And then she tells everyone who's running and being creative and having to un-Hillary themselves how they should thank her for what she did to the party back in 2016. What do you think?
I think the bottom line is her biggest fear is being irrelevant. And, you know, she doesn't want to be a footnote in history. She wants to make sure that she has her place in history. So she's inserting herself in the conversation wherever she can. For her, any news about her is good news. And I think that's what this is all about. So I think she's going to flip-flop. We're going to hear back and forth. Is she running? Is she not running? As long as we can. But ultimately, she should do herself a favor.
I never thought I would long for Albert Gore.
Oh.
Every time I was like, I'm not going to be quiet, I'm going to keep talking, and I'm going to push back, and if I were in Vietnam, we'd have a bunch of people.
Oh, Al Gore. She's running again.
Yeah.
She can't stop running. Have you ever heard it's a real saying? They say the presidency is a disease that's only curable by death. Like people who want to run can't stop running.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion before. We will be at Trump rallies in 20 years chanting, help her up.
Yeah.
Like, it's never going to end because she can't.
So here's the thing I understand. Hillary not having any self-reflection, okay, we can kind of all expect that.
Sure.
But the rest of the party at some point has to step in and say, Hill, pipe down. We got serious people running for president, and you are not one of them.
Yeah.
All she does is remind Democrats that in 2016, they put up the only person, according to them, who couldn't defeat Trump.
Yes.
I mean, right now, if you hear them talk about it, it seems like the president has so many deficiencies. It's amazing that they fielded a candidate at all who couldn't take him down, and yet she continues to talk and
Lincoln
remind him of
Chafee
that.
and Jim Webb are both ahead of the president by 20 points in Iowa straw poll.
It's not even close.
The weirdest thing, yeah.
Right?
You're like, Lincoln Chafee, no, why not?
Right.
Hillary Clinton, she's still minus 70.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the weirdest
Well,
thing.
and, you know, the amazing thing to me, news today, that her ex-campaign manager is now taking over the House Majority Super PAC. This is the House Democrat Super PAC. To me, like, the rest of the party hasn't learned the lesson either. The rest of them think, like, oh, there were some mistakes made in 2016, but really, if we could just correct those mistakes, we would have been
No,
a
it was
shoo-in.
Russia.
It was Russia.
It's not her
Cambridge
fault.
Analytica.
Whatever the excuse is, I just think if you're a Republican in
Sexism,
Wisconsin, you probably feel pretty good right now.
James Comey's Russian sexist misogyny.
That went on. James Comey. She hasn't accepted responsibility for the defeat, which is why I think she's running. Because another sign today was they started hitting Bernie. They were hitting Bernie over his luxury travel. Which, by the way, I love that they called out Bernie for flying private, as if Hillary was flying coach on Spirit Airlines.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
She spent almost $16 million on private jets during her campaign, which is fine.
Yeah, fine.
And Bernie, they spent $100,000 on Bernie's part, where they desperately needed Bernie. I mean, that part was so disingenuous.
Right.
And it wasn't off the record. Zach Petcanis, who was her rapid response director, he was. And he's been on the show. He's so much fun.
What a ball of fun he is, huh? Yeah. Oh, man. He's great at parties.
Oh, King Bernie couldn't be bothered to get on the campaign. He had no obligation to help her out.
Yeah.
No.
She needed him desperately.
Look, and I think right now we're looking at the DNC is out of control right now of this election, just much like the RNC was in 2015, 2016. We should not have, as Republicans, run that many candidates. Democrats, you're looking at, I mean, they're saying it could be upwards of 20. That's bad for the
party.
party.
What are they going to do? Do you think what Republicans did in 2016 would have like 15 debate stages, like tiers
right
of
now
a wedding
the
cake?
plan is to have two different tiers, and actually they're doing something interesting where you have to qualify in polls or raise a certain amount of money from a number of different states and a number of different people to show viability, which I think is an interesting way to look at it. And maybe if Republicans had tried that, that would have weeded out some folks in the early stages.
But it's so anti their message, being critical of raising money.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, so this isn't what it's supposed to be about, right, for them.
But let me ask you this: how does not having super delegates change things, because I think it makes it impossible for Hillary Clinton to get in the race. And I think the reason they got rid of that was not only the Debbie Wasserman Schultz issue, but also to keep her out and to make sure that the Democratic nomination process wasn't a coronation.
Well, I think the difficulty with Democrats is they now have to live with the consequences of that action, and that's why they got rid of superdelegates. I don't think the infrastructure in the party is that different without the superdelegates, that they're still not going to try and find one candidate and coalesce around that person, and the person that the party decides is not that person is not going to get a nod.
Okay, but here's what I want to talk about, because you know, Mark Penn, who's Hillary Clinton's pollster, has said, well, she's not really getting in, but you know, she's going to wait, and if the field is too far left, then she'll get in. But it's also funny because he said if Joe gets in, she won't. And that's her way of messaging to Joe, don't get in.
But imagine...
Don't get in.
But imagine the nerve...
Is he going to stay out one more time?
That's what I was going to say. Imagine the nerve to ask him to do that again.
He would arguably be president.
That's what I was going to say.
She elbowed him out of the way.
Smoking Joe.
Her lady Joe.
Which, by the way, though, he's not a shoo-in either, because they're going to have such a contentious race that any dirt that can dig up on anybody, he's going to get Me Too'd, because he had like the clavicle massage thing going on for a while there, and it's going to be a difficult thing for people to weigh, because you've got the Me Too thing,
his fingers are
with the creepy clavicles, but then on the other side, at his age, all of his food is half price, so we're going to save a little bit of money. It's a tough decision.
And he also takes Amtrak, right? The private plane thing, not so much an issue for him.
Yeah, he might change that after this week. People just spend 4 days on an Amtrak.
Exactly.
I don't know.
He's like, whoa, you know what? Let's fire up the Jeep.
Hey, where's that Bernie jet, by the way? Do we still have that Bernie jet?
The party's not going that direction, though.
Joe can use that.
He could. But no glass ceiling. No shattered glass ceiling.
I mean,
come on, I will say,
it was really a glass of Tito's.
And I would give a throne glass, by the way. I would give anything I could politically to have the first female president be a Republican, just to shine a light on how fraudulent this whole feminist thing is.
Well, sure.
No, I mean, it's not a support all women thing.
If that's what it's all about, if it's really about the importance of showing that women are strong and focused, and if Republicans, you know, run a pseudo-moderate, I think that Democratic women are beholden. They absolutely have to. They're morally obligated to vote for someone based on gender. Isn't that the ultimate?
That seems to be the
axiom in identity politics.
That is the ultimate axiom right now.
All right.
You know, I also think one of the interesting things about watching people on the left right now, outside of the gender and identity politics, is this idea that there's a calling. I must do this because I am the one that's going to save the world from Trump.
Right.
Well, I feel I must.
The DNC, the DNC was the oracle at Delphi saying Hillary Clinton is the chosen one. And that is why the Democrats have had so many problems having candidates that connect with the American people, because they think that they're divined in order to run.
Well, she does have a calling this time because Bill wants her out of the house.
Like, oh, Hillary, this would be awful if you went and ran for
I'd hate that.
18 months. It'd just be so heartbreaking. All right, thanks so much, Lee, Jimmy, and Mattie. Great to see you all. All right, coming up, socialism has nearly destroyed Venezuela, and now opposition leader Juan Guaido reportedly heading back there after meeting with Vice President Pence. Could that push the nation into a full civil war? And is there